stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Call this meeting to order, December 1st. Roll call.
Roll call. Everyone here, Harper, and Matt Colbert, for this very, yeah, we're good.
No road commissioner.
No road commissioner, no assessor.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from November 3rd.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Paul?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Ted? Mike, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, public commentary at this time? Any public commentary?
I got some county board stuff if you guys want to hear now.
You can say, sure.
So first of all, we have a new sheriff. He was sworn in today, so we're actually going to have a meeting scheduled with him in the next couple of weeks to address the issues out there that we're facing out here. There's a couple of different ideas that they're kicking around. He's actually got some ideas to also cut the budget at that time. Along that line, at the county, we're actually in discussions because of the state of Illinois, what there actually is going to transpire. I'm actually going to attend metro counties tomorrow down in Springfield, and basically the new administration wants to come in and have a 20% across the board cut. So it sounds fantastic, sounds great, except when you ask which line item do you want cut. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to affect almost every taxing body out there. If the Democrats actually put up no resistance, say, okay, we'll give you what you want, you actually better look at your accounts and keep them where they're at, because what's going to happen is it's going to start affecting the school funding. It'll start there, basically that'll be a dramatic impact, and the money's going to have to come from somewhere, or the taxing bodies are actually going to start cutting. The other problem is that pension, recently, the solution that they thought they had was ruled unconstitutional. So what's happening is basically that's an unfunded liability. Many of you in this room, or a couple of you in this room, are actually going to receive taxpayer-funded pensions. There's all different types of taxpayer-funded pensions. But actually this will affect probably all of them ultimately. A lot of people say, well, IMRF, don't worry, that's actually separate. They're actually including that in the conversations now. Basically, IMRF has some money sitting there. If there's a way to actually move the money around, they'll actually do that. With a taxing body, we've discussed this at the county, what you do is you actually have a unfunded liability out there and a funded liability, meaning that what could ultimately happen is that your entire tax levy could actually have to be utilized just to fund the pensions that are out there now. So just be careful with your unfunded liability. Always monitor that. You want to look at that in the future. When you get into a situation where you have pay increases, remember that's predicated upon the pension dollars. When they actually retire, it'll be predicated upon that. So there's a lot of discussions going on right now. So nobody really knows. It's kind of up in the air right now. And again, the problem with line items is, and you guys have line items in your budget, a lot of those have a human being at the end of them. So what happens is when they start cutting, ultimately somebody's going to feel the pinch somewhere. So that's a lot of discussion going on right now. And then hopefully next month or whatever, I'll have a better understanding of what's going to go on. There's actually other negotiations going on right now with the transition teams. We're actually thinking about, within the next couple of weeks, formulating a letter to the county, actually explaining our position on a lot of these and what we think is vital to actually fund for the future. So I wish I had some good news to come to you with tonight, but that's about the extent of it. So
So when you said a 20% cut, it's not just dollars, it's gonna be services and or
Yes.
departments.
He created a transition team. The transition team has went in there and basically said to the legislature, they're meeting with the state reps now, meeting in groups. He said, let's do a 20% cut across the board.
Everything.
Across the board, yeah. But the problem is when you start going line item by line item, that sounds great, but there's actually it's problematic. And also, I know that Senate Bill 16, that's still fluid right now. That affects the school board. That's not, what was Chapo Lavia actually had that, presented that. It's taken on a whole different form again right now. So it's entirely different than what was actually presented. But at the end of the day, it's like anything else. You have dollars and cents. The dollars coming in, dollars going out. There's more dollars going out that are going to come in. So, and remember now, the other thing about the pension program is you got to remember that's predicated upon the unfunded liability, meaning that if everybody were to retire today and there was not another dollar contributed, that actually they would make the pension obligations. So again, there's a lot of voodoo math going on, I call it. That, basically, we'll take that's pot of money not being used right now. Let's actually take that in. Now, this all started back in probably the late 60s, early 70s, and this has been accumulating a long time. So.
And there's no protection on that money, right? Isn't there?
Well, by law, they actually had passed laws on it, so that, okay, you can't touch that pension money. Then they said, okay, well, you can take up to 30%, then up to 70%, then they empty the account. And then basically that's what they're running on right now. Is that, but again, that's predicated upon the pension payments. They were starting to make the pension payments. Now, that'd be another option that'd be thrown out there, let's not make pension payments again. And that's actually put it in there, but that just kicks the can down the road. So, and we, at the county, we actually look at it very closely because we have, and Mike knows, we have MAP, SLEP, we have IMRF, we have multitude of pensions over there that, actually we're on the hook for. And a lot of times, you have to be very careful because one pension fund will actually sue another pension fund saying those hours should have been actually applied to this man's hours instead of that. So it's complex and it's kind of depressing at the end of the day, but again, but all I'm saying is local taxing bodies, just watch what you're doing because if it becomes a reality, it could actually have a drastic effect on everything. Oh, and the other thing is MFT money. The problem with MFT money is motor fuel tax. Is people are driving less and they're driving cars that are more fuel efficient. And the more public transportation that they take, the less times that they go to the gas station to make that contribution to the motor fuel tax.
Mike, just a couple comments. And Bobby mentioned when you get the line items. I would certainly think the department heads have to look at their entire budgets. Some lines get cut more, some get cut less. I mean, it's not a 20% each line item. And if it works that way, then you got guys running stuff that don't know how to run it.
Well, if you have $1 million budget and it says 20%, that's $200,000. So each department head has a budget. They're saying a 20% cut across the board.
And it's up to them to determine where it comes from.
Correct.
Okay.
And actually, years ago, there was a Bob Williamson, the East County Board, and he actually proposed that at the county board. Back then, it was more realistic, the dollars, and yeah, they actually did. They would do it 10% across the line. And I actually proposed a 10% budget cut across the line. Couldn't get a vote second on the motion, but it does make sense to do it. If you really, truly want to cut the dollars, that is an option. That's the way to go.
And I think it's a case of, that's a starting point. It's not going to get to 20, it'll be something less than that. But the other thing is, and our fine government is, state government has never done this. They should have done it years ago when the pensions became a problem, was switching all new hires to a 401k plan. They refused to do it, so they just kept building up the unfunded liability on those pensions. And it shouldn't take them long to pass a bill that says all new hires are going to 401k. Then they control that cost for those new employees. But no, there's too much labor union stuff and other stuff that wanna protect everything and keep everything, because that's who votes, and we get the shaft because of it.
But I agree with you with the 401K to actually retransition all of these pensions into it, but it still doesn't eliminate the unfunded liability of the year's tax.
And the unfunded liability is not hard to eliminate either eventually, because all you need to do is you cut it off, say at age 50, and say everybody that's 50 now keeps the current pension plan they have. Everybody under 50, we calculate their benefit that they have today, and we cash it and put it in a pension plan for your 401K plan, you control the money. And that also limits everything going forward.
And we've looked at that at the county, we've looked at that, apparently they're looking at state is what I'm told. But the thing about that is that's good, except that pension programs are predicated upon the future workers actually coming in. And if you stop that, you stop the hires immediately, you're actually, the unfunded liability actually increases. And a lot of these programs, they actually get paid the same salary that they are when they're working. So, I mean, it's a big
Liability doesn't increase a whole lot, because you're gonna have to fund the existing ones now, that if you cut it off at 55, you'll have to fund those. The rest is gonna be 401K.
Correct.
You gotta fund those now anyway.
If
You're not taking any money from the new employees to fund the old employees. Doesn't work that way.
Well, IMRF is pretty well fluid,
Yeah.
you know,
It's
we're really
83%.
good, but these other ones,
Yes, you gotta make sure they keep your hands off your money.
yeah, they keep, you gotta have new hires to pay for the retirees
Correct.
that have already retired. That's how they're doing these other ones.
Are you making contributions?
Yeah, I make to both IMRF and Social
I'm
Security.
saying, the IRF, you guys have to make contributions
Yeah, we
to
make
fund.
partial and you make, county makes the partial.
Yeah, you're 14% IMRF.
Right.
Because, correct me
You're
if
not
I'm wrong,
First Select?
Nope, IMRF.
are there any, do the employees contribute anything to their pension at the state level?
That I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that's part of the big problem.
I think the state police do.
Well, the police do that.
Yeah.
I think the police always, I think the teachers do too.
Yeah, they do too.
But I think the government workers do not.
Oh, no, no, they don't.
That's the problem.
Well, bottom line, watch what's happening in Springfield, because it could affect all local taxing bodies.
Okay, thank you for those comments. We're gonna close public commentary now. And reports. Did Jerry give you anything?
Nothing.
I have nothing either from road commissioner. I think he's at church praying that it won't snow. Assessor, also nothing from the assessor as of now. Clerk.
Just a reminder that the senior holiday dinner is next Tuesday at the Ambon Hall at 6:30. Everything has been ordered and is in place, and we will try to set up probably around 4 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon, unless we can get in there on Monday, and I'll shoot you guys an email, and then we can go in and set up. The setup won't take long, but everything seems to be in place for it, and expecting a good turnout. I didn't look at the weather forecast, but hoping the weather's good as well.
It's good. And we're having, I don't know if it's the choir and possibly some sort of ensemble from the high school.
Okay. Yeah, you told me that's all. Yeah, high school's gonna be there as well. Again, which was really nice last year. That's all.
Okay. Planning commission.
Nothing.
Alrighty. Supervisor, I do not have anything new to report. I'll throw in the GA and the transportation at the same time. GA is, for the month of November, there were no new applications or recipients of GA or EA. That closes the GA report. Transportation, there was Teresa is back on a part-time basis, or limited work schedule, I should say. 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever. Whenever she gets tired, she goes home. But she's walking around really well, way better than she was before, certainly. Dara is also back. I don't know if you knew what happened to Dara. She was in the hospital for a number of issues, something with her lungs, and then she was embolism, something. But she's also back to helping Teresa out, so that's good. We received a check from Area and Aging, the 14th or 15th of this month for around $5,800. And the ridership for last month, November, 500, and, I wrote it down on a piece of paper in my office, but I believe it was 546.
Hey, Mike, could I ask a question on transportation?
Sure.
Do you guys do a cost per ride still on that, or no? You know what the cost per ride is yet, or?
Well, we haven't redone it unless you know what it is.
I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, every month.
Up roundabout, you got a figure for it?
I know off the top of my head, I'd have to look at it, but yes, we still do it. She puts out the quarterly reports, and it's all like there, yeah, absolutely.
Which we just got at the quarter from Teresa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's.
I can give it to you
I have
after
to look
the
at it,
meeting,
but
I
it's
can
on
look
there.
Because the will ride now, the township's portions are $19 per ride. That's the township portion, so it'll be double, that'd be $38 is our cost per ride. And do you know how many rides per, like if it's street township rides or Washington?
That's
Township?
also broken.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty consistent.
Okay,
Treats like 200 and something, 63 or something like that.
okay.
They're the most right now.
But if I take, I can actually do it myself, if I take your transportation cost. Now, is there any costs that are thrown back in the town account? Like is Teresa's healthcare, is the town account picking up that cost, or
I think that's split
what's the split?
100% on a
Out of town.
health.
That's the second
On
one.
a town.
It's 100% out of town.
Right, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I wrote it like.
Is that broken out percentage-wise with the transportation then, or no?
No.
But her salary's
Salary split.
entirely, or the
Her
salary's?
salary split though.
Oh, it is.
Right, yes, they're not the health insurance is not.
Okay, the split is in the, if I look at transportation bill,
I think
and
it
the
is,
town account bill, the split's already done.
yeah. And it's 50, it's 50/50, I believe, yeah.
It's 50/50?
Mhm.
Okay.
We'll talk about this ad in new business, I guess. And that's it for my reports, trustees. Paul, you want to start?
Sure. Food pantry this month, we did 55 families, it was very busy. On the other hand, the junior high did a food drive for the food pantry. And we got over 1,000 cans of soups and vegetables and stuff like that. Back of my pickup truck was jam-packed with did a very good drive.
Just from the junior high?
Just from the junior high, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then Teresa called me up, we got quite a bit of donations. Here I gotta pick up too, so. We had a lot of people show up, but we also got a lot of donations, so kind of works hand in hand.
Do you have a lot of room left?
You know what, as fast as it comes in, it goes out at the same time, so, yeah. So no, it's doing good, doing very good. I think seems like we get a little busier around the holidays, so. But we got Christmas coming up and maybe things start slowing down again, we'll see. That's all I have.
Okay,
Nothing new for me except what Joey told me, which sounds great. We'll do a little more check on that. Having the kids come out and clean up.
Basically, one of the churches has volunteered to have the youth group
oh,
come out and look for some community service work.
oh, okay.
So, Design. Design.
Did it, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. Ted?
Only thing I could add is we're having a senior event on Friday night to, taking a bus tour group to Olivet. There's 22 people signed up so far. 4 more places available. It's a free concert. And we've been given reservations. We're the only group that's got a reservation. So,
It's like, what, it's like a Christmas concert or something?
It's an
yeah, there's a concert in their auditorium. So that's it, and then, I keep getting assurances from the village that, we're gonna continue to work forward on a dog park this next year. So, that's all I got.
Okay, Mike, anything else?
No, nothing.
All right, so we will move to old business, which there is nothing on the agenda. Miss-
Unless I missed something, I didn't have.
Yeah, I don't think there was. All right, so we'll move to new business. New business, consideration approval of plan commission recommendations. There were none, so no action. Number 2, consideration and approval of an ordinance ratifying and authorizing approval of the 2015 paratransit service provider agreements by and between Suburban Bus Division of the Regional Transportation Authority and Washington Township Service Provider. Ordinance number 14-08.
That is the annual agreement that is required by PACE. We've done this every year since we started. It's actually a little earlier this year. We approved it back in I think, March of this year, but now they wanted it again in December. Maybe they're trying to get it on a calendar year basis, I don't know. But we have the agreements here. They're the same agreements as last year.
That's the actual agreement there.
Yeah, I gave you the actual ordinance that
Right.
approves the agreements. Yeah, the agreements are written by PACE. So
And there are no changes in the, other than the date?
they didn't indicate, they just changed the dates, that's all they
So we need approval, or are we?
did. Just, we need to approve the ordinance.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
Ordinance number 14-08.
well, I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance number 14-08 regarding the paratransit service provider agreement.
I will second.
Second by Mike. Is there discussion?
Ted?
Yes.
Mike Mack?
Yes, sir.
Mike Spinola?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Item number 3, there's no action on this, but we have it on here just in case there's something that comes up that it misses the publication of the agenda. Any and all other actions necessary to approve and or finalize the paratransit service provider agreements. So there's no action on that. It's just on there, just in case.
It's a catch-all.
Two additional items under the new business. One is, last year, about the same time, we approved to have Washington Township an ad in the hometown pages. This is the copy of the ad, you know, that little yellow book. If you want to see it, it basically, it advertises the Ride the Bus, Dial a Ride program. It's a quarter page, and it's $375. Goes out to the residents of East, just what we've done the last few years.
How many books are there? No, yeah.
Everybody.
Couple thousand,
Everybody's got
$2,000.
those.
We did 3,500. If it goes out to the Beecher Manor address, it's 3,300 based on what I see in the newsletter.
We did it last year, the year before, same ad, it's the same ad every couple of years.
And keep in mind, people like Area on 18 are looking for us to, promote the services through whatever means of
You see
media
the ad?
as possible.
It's actually covered through the Area on Aging grant, it's public relations for public outreach.
And it's that ad exactly, within the new book,
What is it, about 875 still, or?
375.
Oh, 375.
I think we should go ahead.
We redo the ad,
Pardon me?
can we redo it just to,
We could, it's just, I have to have it Wednesday, that's all.
You don't get a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, it says everything, I don't know what else you,
Oh, yeah.
what else.
print it backwards, I think we need to get the number out there, I mean, that's important.
Mhm.
And seniors don't use the app, we have an app. They don't use apps, so. We need approval on that, or we just part of the budget?
It's in the budget,
We just-
but if you want to do it, you can put it in the budget.
Need it, is what it is.
I see it all the time.
Oh, you call.
I do use the phone.
Really?
Yes, sir.
It's up to you if you can have a motion or not.
We've done it the last few years, so,
I made a motion, we
Okay.
approve it.
I'll second it.
Everything on-
all right, any discussion on this? No?
Paul?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Mike Spinola?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
Mike Mack?
Yes.
All right, the last item that I have for new business would be the Beecher Festival of Lights, which is this Saturday. Steps off at 6:30. 6:30. Line up's at 5, I know. we wanna put something in it?
I want the lights,
You got lights?
I got special lights,
Okay.
but I gotta have a plug, that's the only,
Is it a, do you need a,
I got,
inverter?
I have an inverter, if you have, you know, a cigarette, what do you call that? Is that,
On the bus?
they have one on the bus? I'll be checking out Friday.
So we have to have some lights on it, there's no minimum on lights.
I got 3 strings of LED lights.
Okay, something on there. I mean, it's a, you know,
Flares.
you've been in this parade,
Yeah, it's been a while.
10 minutes long, so.
The lineup's at 5:30?
I wanna say it's 5. You can get there at 5, you know, it's wherever you wanna get in. You wanna be in the front, you get there at 5, you wanna be in the back, you get there at 5:30.
It starts at 6:30? What are you gonna do?
I can't remember if it's 6 or 6:30. Maybe it's 6.
You're gonna be in the.
Oh, one of my cars in it, yeah.
Where is lineup at?
It's Zion.
Sign?
There's an app for that.
For the festival lights?
Oh, yeah, for the feature website.
Use your website.
Feature.
What?
What do the village website says?
Yeah.
Sure.
So we need somebody to
I
drive.
actually just go to their app,
Yeah.
and it's on here. Okay, what time it is?
Well, which bus can we use?
Can't be the real big one. So, one of the smaller van ones.
It's gotta have the name on the side.
Uh,
No point having no van with lights in it.
There's a name on there, it doesn't have Washington Township on it though.
Which one has,
I think the Chevy's got Township.
Doesn't have time.
what's that?
The Chevy one, I think, has got Washington Township on it, the name on it.
Well, I mean, that's the point. I mean, just people see the bus, you know?
So, you see, you can't throw candy out of it, you can hand candy out if you want to. There's not a lot of people that watch this parade, so they all congregate at Fireman's Park, pretty much, at the end of the parade.
Then we circle the wagons there and.
Right, and then they have hot chocolate, if it's not too cold, high school band will play, if it's too cold, they won't even show up.
Well, said they're gonna have it inside the
The
community center.
junior high's chorus is singing.
That's their intent, but since the new pavilion has no electric to it, they can't go in there, so,
Well, they say they're gonna do it on stage.
they could do it on the stage, right?
You know, why don't they just go to the fire department and ask them if they could do it on the firehouse where the engines are? Move the engines, put them in the alley for half an hour, and the kids are shielded. All the people can hear, because if you're outside with nothing to disturb you, they're not gonna, half of them aren't gonna hear what the kids are singing, and the kids would be halfway warm.
Well, that's
It's such a no-brainer to me.
I know, Santa's gonna be in the basement of the community building. They didn't wanna put the band or the chorus in the basement with Santa
When you
Claus.
put it in a firehouse, you open the front doors, everybody can stand out there and listen to them, the kids are shielded from the elements, and you can actually hear the voices, because they're not going out all over in the open air.
Right, well, the township does not run this parade, it's the
I
senior
understand
conference,
that.
so.
Wrong meeting, George.
Somebody should suggest that. I suggested to one of the guys, but, you know, I got no call, but, you know, if somebody calls up, I mean, just think about it. Is it that hard to park the fire trucks out in the alley? If they gotta go, they can go. You can set up a few little stairs for the kids to stand on, they can sing for a half hour, 40 minutes. People can congregate outside the firehouse, you're not going into their meeting rooms or any of that stuff. Kids are protected from the cold, and everybody can actually hear what they're saying.
Well, I could talk to the Bill Boss, see, it's supposed to be 41 or something on Saturday, it's not that bad.
I know, but if they're singing outside, you can't hear.
Right, yeah, especially if they're on a stage, you're far away. I'm not saying that the fire department's gonna move the trucks out.
I don't know, is there an arm to the fire
No.
trucks going out, or what?
No, I don't know, that's up to the fire department,
I know, but it's, you know, so we could
They
talk,
might have to-
fire chief and say, hey, you can do that for an hour.
All right, so we're gonna put something in it, right?
Do the biggest band we can get.
Okay, and then who's gonna drive it?
I'll drive it.
Okay. And then how's it gonna get decorated?
I'll decorate it. I volunteer my wife.
Good man, Ted.
Yeah, tell her that, that's what Goldie said it was.
No,
okay.
that's a good man.
Okay, so that's,
I gotta
we're
get,
good.
I gotta get keys and all that. I'll
Well,
try-
Teresa can get, I mean,
I'll do that Friday, we'll be here Friday for the, oh, that,
okay. So, I don't know if we can put it in the
This is my 13th year.
highway garage or the wash space.
Right,
Something.
yeah.
Well, put in the,
I would-
put everything inside.
Put it in the wash bay.
Keep it warm and wash it.
put in the wash bay. That way it'd be easier to put tape or whatever on it.
Or
That-
maybe
I'll do
it's
what?
paid.
Do we do
Put it in the wash bay. Ask them to put it in the wash bay.
We used to do it, the day before, no, we can't.
No, same
You
day.
do it the day of.
We did it the day of the wash bay water.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to help?
All right, so,
I can't guarantee it.
I
but
do.
will try.
four, if it's 4 o'clock-ish?
Yeah, it says be here at 4, get some body tape and.
Okay, all right, good.
The blue tape, the paint.
The blue, that painter's tape won't
It works the best.
stick. I mean, it won't take the paint off. Any other new business? No? Okay.
Can I ask Bob a question?
Sure.
Hey, Bob,
Yes.
I can't remember where I read it, but you said that with this thing, the taxes for the school district aren't gonna impact it too much by the airport? Was that?
Yeah,
Remember that?
basically, I think they went up to 82,000 or something. They actually got more because we after the sale at the airport.
Okay.
They're actually receiving it. And then if you want to verify the numbers, contact the supervisor assessments office, Rhonda Novak. She'll verify. And I like newspapers and all that, but contact her office, she'll give you the actual
How does
numbers.
that work, Bob? I mean, if the state owns it, they're not paying
Because
taxes on the
there's
other property, they.
There's that legislation that was passed, I don't know what, shoot, 2002 or something. Anyway, what happened was, is the legislation was passed, so the assessments are based upon the values at that time. So that, because I actually had asked about, because there's a sunset clause on the legislation, I think it's 2020, and it takes years to get legislation passed. So I said, why don't we reopen it? And then our lobbyist said, don't reopen that now, because it's predicated upon those higher values. Now, when that property sold, I think it sold for 34 million or whatever it was, there's a certain formula that's predicated upon that. So the state agrees to pay those taxes for that. So they pay those
So even
taxes.
though they own the property, they're gonna pay
Correct.
taxes?
Correct.
Because the individual homes they buy, they don't pay taxes on.
Yes, they do. They
That's
pay
a big
taxes on it.
misconception, though.
Yeah, they pay taxes on that, and then there was a question about if they knock down the home and then if it's returned to farmable ground or whatever, she was actually putting together those numbers on that, because that was a question. Now, on the other hand, is that, let's say you have 10 homes there, and, 10 homes, you have 2.5 kids per home or whatever, you have 25 kids going to school, then all of a sudden the homes are gone, there's no kids going to school, so technically there wouldn't be a impact to those children going to the school. So there's arguments on both sides. But right now, the taxing bodies, especially the school district, is actually making good money on that right now, so. Have you heard anything different?
No, I was just curious, I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, have they
the
explained it?
district was looking into it. This came up at the last board meeting.
Okay.
He was
I'm
looking
curious
into
to
it.
know.
Yeah, but contact with the supervisor assessments, Ron Novak.
And what's that committee?
Pardon?
What's that committee that's on?
Well, the airport, they had an ad hoc airport committee, but they dissolved, I don't know, I think with restructuring, they dissolved that committee.
Okay.
But you can ask the question, I mean, to Bruce Freefeld or whatever, just might ask that or whatever, if you wanted to pass the information. You know Bruce, right? Okay.
Never met him.
He's like the head of, chief of staff of the board.
Okay.
But yeah, that's important that the message gets out, because right away, everybody said the school district's losing money on it.
Yeah, that's why
They
they
were
shut
not.
down Green, or,
Because then when we addressed it, because we called in the state lobbyists and said we gotta get this fixed. But there's larger things at play in Will County now too, because the refineries there, they pay a large portion of taxes to the county and the school districts in turn. If they get that law passed where they can't tax the pollution control devices, then there's gonna be devastating effects on that, so. I mean, there's big problems out there that are lurking, so, but But I'll ask Bruce to send that over you guys, I'll ask him to ask Ron to know that, so.
Is there anything happening with that tree dinner mower?
No, that's, right now, that's dead in the water as far as we know. So, that's, the latest is they wanna, what is that, south service line, south end service line or whatever, that train, that might be picking up momentum again. To get
You
that
mean the
passenger
one
train
through
on.
Crete or the
Yeah.
high-speed
To
rail?
put the passenger station, I
Okay.
think that's all over. That's a, and then there's talk of eventually, this would be really neat. The high-speed rail, like 220 mile an hour high-speed rail, actually having a station at Governor's State, their University Park, having one in Chicago and then one in Champaign-Urbana. So the future is the kids that actually live here could go hop on a train and be in, you could take classes at U of I and be there in 15 minutes, you know, so. Unbelievable. They can do it. Other than that, I have the airport, that's just sitting there right now, and then the LEN, I think, record of decision this month.
How about the pot places, warehouses?
Uh,
Has it been established here in the,
No, they had, what had happened was, with the one in Wilton Center, was basically the, in an agricultural community, if you're zoned A1, basically, it's agricultural. It was decided by land use, okay, if, in order to even entertain them coming out anywhere here, so they said, okay, well, you don't have to go for a special land use permit. You just can go there if you meet the building codes, you can actually build it. Which in the future would protect some poor guy that has a greenhouse that says, okay, I wanna have a greenhouse now, because if land use would say, okay, you know what, well, that's a greenhouse, so we'd like to look at all the greenhouses out here, and then it could, government would grow then, it becomes very bureaucratic. So what the idea was is actually, there's only 6 of them, I think, in the 6 police districts or whatever. There's a certain amount of them.
right,
So, but they're gonna be annexed into a village. I think Tinley Park now is actually entertaining that. But that would be a windfall for the taxing districts that get that. The county would receive quite a few dollars. The townships would receive a lot of dollars, so would the school districts and all that. And it'd be like, I've seen pictures of them, they look like compounds.
yeah, you do, you gotta be armed, special
Yeah.
security.
A fancy compound, so, and then, you know, they grow
So-
alcohol out of corn, or get corn out of alcohol. I don't see a
So
lot
have
of,
they taken,
I don't see a lot of winos driving around these cornfields, but.
so has all 6 permits been given out already, or?
No, it costs them like, their investments, I think, 250,000 just to get on there. I mean, it's unbelievable. And this is only medical marijuana.
Right.
It doesn't have the THC or whatever in there for people that actually use it for recreation. And there's multiple strains, I guess. They said there's strains for like if you've got glaucoma
Right.
or cancer, you're going through chemotherapy for the nausea, there's different strains of it, so. And then, they can't hire the little neighbor kid to go work in there. It has to be an actual, background checks and all that kind of stuff. So, but we haven't heard anything when the state pulls the trigger on it. I don't know, immediately in Wilton Center, when they heard about that, Manhattan, that's how the whole hubbub started, was Manhattan invited them in there and said, we're gonna annex you in. You know, the minute you do it, we want you, because
Yeah.
municipalities see a windfall of tax dollars there. So, and that's a cultivation center, not a dispensary. And there was a law, you can't have a cultivation center and a dispensary in the same place. So if they grow it here, it's
They gotta
actually
ship out.
transported to a dispensary. Dispensaries be located in metropolitan areas. That's all I know about that.
I think that's all I know. All I needed to ask you, so.
Yeah.
All I wanted is,
Actually, they showed us pictures of the ones down in Arizona, though. I mean, looks like a high-end currency exchange. I mean, it's all glass in there and, you know, very fancy stuff.
Okay, anything else? Payment of bills?
Okay, Ted, pick a town account.
Township,
What's with the operation loan?
So the first, the one that is on November 3rd, which was, I mentioned last month, which is the day of our meeting, it was last November's meeting. It was the transfer was from the town account to transportation, because we, at the time, were waiting on the area on aging monies. The second one, Daryl, we got the payment, which was like $5,800 on the 14th, but Daryl was afraid that it would not clear by the time, you know, all the bank reconciliations went through. So he wanted to transfer another $6,000 so that payroll, because payroll is now, you know, pretty regimented as far as being every 2 weeks or every, you know, input on one Friday, payment on the next Friday. So we got a check, like I said, the 14th, it was like $5,875. But Daryl didn't know that was gonna clear, so that's why that second one was transferred. According to Teresa, we should get another check from Area on Aging before the end of this month, December, before the end of December, so that would cover December. So the 19th is basically covered. And then December should be covered by the time we have January's meeting.
Now, will we transfer the initial 6,000?
As of right now, we haven't done that.
No, but will we be, can we do that?
Can do that, yes, transfer it back into town. Sure.
You know, it's all town account money. Okay, so when you say it's a loan, it's kind of misleading. You're taking the money from the town account and putting it into a fund within the town account. And the transportation account is costing the township money. So it's never gonna be free like it was when we had all these different grants going on. There's always gonna be some small cost associated with running it. So, you know, whether or not you wanna call it a loan, it's more of the cost of running the
Do
department.
business.
Yes, you know, and
So-
so that's why you see that occasionally you'll have a loan go through there. Now that we've got the AOA grant for another year, it's $58.75.
That's what this last one.
That's the standard amount every month that we'll receive up to 68,000 some odd dollars, whatever that is times 12. So that's what that'll be, because that grant was approved
Well, going,
a month ago.
going back to this quote-unquote loan, would it just be best to leave it there? It's a technicality,
It's in a
but
different
is it?
checkbook, but it's still town account fund money. It was put in there to help create transparency between the two. So if all of a sudden you were to see a buildup of cash in the town account or the transportation account, then you could say, yeah, I would like to transfer it back. If you leave it in there, you're probably gonna have to make another transfer maybe in 4 or 5 months.
That's what I'm
something
saying,
like
would
that.
you be better off just?
You know, the town account's sitting on quite a bit of money, it has been,
Mhm.
so it's not like
I
it's.
think I'm gonna leave it in there for a little while and make sure that this next check comes in a timely manner. Just to make sure that we don't have to do this again.
And then we don't get money from the other townships until the quarter,
Right.
every quarter is when she bills the other townships.
Okay.
So that also is another reason why sometimes it runs a little low and then we get an influx of money from the other townships. Great. You know, township board, it's crazy. So,
Hey, Joe, can I make a statement for history, historically? Historically, the reason why that was done was that it was adamant that we were not to utilize township money for that fund. That fund was self-supporting and actually had a positive cash flow originally. That's when we had.
but not constantly. It never had a constantly positive cash flow throughout the years. It went up and down.
Yeah, but we never had to take over money out of town account, put town account money in there.
Once in a while we do.
But if there's,
No.
if there's
we
grants
didn't-
and all that out
We did not
there
have to do that.
then,
And historically, we did not have to do that, and I'm adamant about that. Because that was, at the board at that time, it was a very conservative board. And we did not want to commingle those funds. That's why it was easily set up as a separate, and Ted could attest to this. We set that up as a separate fund. And basically, it was self-supporting, self-sustaining. But again, if you go back historically, all your grants are predicated upon growth, meaning that there is no such thing as an operational grant. Okay, what that means is that as long as you keep growing, as long as you keep expanding the service, you're always gonna be qualified for additional money. So we were always ahead of the game. So that when you guys hit a plateau and you stop, then eventually it's going to become more and more costly to you. And again, by economy of scale, the more rides you provide, the cheaper it actually becomes. But at some point in time, that's why you should always monitor the cost per ride. And at some point in time, if there's something else that's more economical that provides the same service, do that. You know, and that's, at the county, that's what we're actually doing is, we're providing that cost per ride. And actually Frankfurt Township recently signed on because they can't do it for $19 a ride. You know, if they run their own transportation service. So that's the history of this thing. So as a taxpayer, I'd like to see this thing be self-sufficient. So if you guys need to look at expansion or actually reorganizing the model, do it. I mean, I don't think our real estate tax dollars should be spent for something like that they don't need to be paying for. It's just pure business sense. So, and Ted can go over the history. You were there since the beginning. And you had to sell it to Ted, otherwise we wouldn't have got it. Right, Ted?
Oh, yeah.
If I was spending money on it, don't do that.
And of course, the landscape has changed, because now we're effectively competing with the county for the dollar, the ridership. So we're holding our own out here. When nobody else wanted to touch this, we were stranded high and dry, and we decided to provide the service at no cost to the taxpayer or no additional cost. And started the program with the grants and the whole system. But now we're competing against the county, so, like, you know, as we said, when the day comes, it becomes too costly, then we have to examine, is it worth the effort, the money we're spending for the service we're providing to the senior citizens, or anybody for that matter that wants to use the service. So,
You could actually look at other options though, Ted. You could actually become a vendor with the county.
yeah.
You could partner with the county and actually end up saving money. You could probably reduce your cost per ride. So that's the other side of it, so.
That's certainly a consideration. But I think the way we're running it, you know, with the transportation being a separate, basically, an accounting, I know it's not the way an accountant would set it up, but it brings up this discussion, which is good to keep this on the forefront on a monthly basis, so we know where we stand, or where we're going, so there's no big surprises at the end of the year. And I think it's working well that way.
Okay, so we're still in the county.
Sorry.
Real.
And number 3939, Dahlberg Accounting, that's effectively the cost to get in line. I mean, it's just on a monthly fee.
No.
I mean,
He also finished that AFR, the annual financial report, which is, he said it was a mess to get through.
He had to tie that all in with the audit,
Yeah.
and he did. He was able to tie it all in and make all the necessary adjustments to make that all work, so it's gonna be more
Theoretically, our next audit should go
like a snap.
smooth.
that was an expensive audit.
Yeah, well, so is Daryl, but he's got everything where it needs to be.
And so we would anticipate a much lower bill on a monthly basis than.
Yes.
After he said by January 1st, he expected everything to be,
No surprises.
no surprises.
So we would say the transition has been, well, we not transition, but the change of,
Change was needed,
yeah.
and Daryl's put a lot of time into our books. You also looked at the transportation, right? For this whole thing? It's on the same sheet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's the same.
Yeah, transportation's about the same
What do you mean,
as last year. I mean, it's last month.
There's a report, we need to do a report on the payroll. You number rise, really.
Yeah, I did.
But that was,
Possibly 550.
yeah, you
Right.
made,
But I mean, the bills that were paid.
right. For the 14,000 total, right?
Correct.
Well, if everybody's cool with it, I'll make a motion to approve the bill presented for a total of $40,804.76.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Ted?
Yes.
Mike, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Mike Sedillo?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Okay, Road and Bridge is next.
Why don't we get 64?
Question on that, why do we pay one bill twice?
What number?
Yeah, I saw that too, Mike.
7071 and 7081 is the same invoice number.
Yep,
for
it is.
asphalt patch.
Yeah, I don't know, they did. We'll have to get credit for it. I saw that too,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, I'll look at 64.
And then explain the question. Okay, we're providing Blue Cross Blue Shield for who?
Employees.
The employees,
So maybe,
Well, it's full-time employees.
full-time.
full-time employees,
Jerry, Jimmy, Mike Smith now, I believe.
and who are we providing life insurance for?
All the same group, that's the
Same group? Okay.
But Jerry pays 40% of his though, right? Doesn't, that's a deduction on there? But you guys write the check and then you deduct that out of his paycheck? 40%?
I don't know how Daryl's doing it now, but I know Daryl's.
Is that getting done though? I mean, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
question.
Oh, yeah.
And then I guess I can't answer the other one, I was wanting, you know, that HFE oil.
That's
Is that
the that's the road oil when he tires and chips.
So that's a delayed billing, or,
Mhm.
because they haven't done nothing for how long?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, well, right
It
when
was
I
done
started, right when I sat
September.
on the board, we had a whole bunch of them come through, you
Yeah,
know, in the previous months, and I was just surprised to see it back in here this month again, I guess.
And that was actually two bills, I believe.
It's multiple townships too though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
How do they reimburse Washington Road District now? I never did figure that one out.
No, I don't know how Jerry does that.
I don't know if they're being reimbursed or if they're, when they buy it, they're charging a truckload to that township and then we get billed for what we use.
I thought Jerry.
But he did also say that the guys, sometimes the guys come here and pick up 2,000, yeah, I don't know how that's being billed.
Or maybe they buy some and then they use it over here or something.
One of them stores in here, I think. I might have gathered that.
Yeah, I mean, Mark, the invoices were from 9/22 and from 10/22 for that bill.
Well, it's, maybe it's used. It's 10/20. I'm just thinking when they did the last target.
And that would have been
Yeah, but
July or August.
Yeah.
But he could have done it in the beginning of October and then didn't bill them.
Till the end. So then the previous ones we were looking at were from early.
Probably August sometime. Yeah.
Just curious.
Ted, what were you looking for?
6436. Or is that your-
Tools and supplies.
Oh, Tifco? Shop parts and stuff. Nuts and bolts or something like that. Shop supplies.
Standard.
Impact sockets, Loctite, washers. Industrial Wholesale, I think, got a grant part, but I don't know if those guys are doing this anymore, or just went someplace else. Anything else? Anything else?
No. Anybody else? Done? Okay, so a motion then?
A motion, we pay the road and bridge bills for $59,212.19.
Second. Discussion?
Mike Mack?
Yes.
Ted? Mike Stone?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Signatures, guys?
Okay, our next meeting is January 5th. Ted? January 5th.
Send me a postcard later.
Read it somewhere?
Yeah.
You might be somewhere.
Not
You got a dinner,
here.
holiday
80
dinner
degrees,
today.
I'll be there, but otherwise, don't count on it. We could adjourn into Key West Convention Center.
You want to book the airfare for all this, and then try to make sure how the public gets down there, so
We call that.
the only. I call that. That's heavier paper, okay? I use heavier paper for. This last year's more durable.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have 7:58. Was there first or second? I missed the first.
Motion Goldie, second Hurley.
Okay.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
You ever seen two
elections
closer than the sheriff
So what they set up, huh?
No, the,
I'm gonna try, yeah.
No, crossing of the Fredericks.
What they set up?
treasurer,
Yeah, Fredericks.
they said it was the third closest since 1900.
Oh, no, Tuesday,
Yeah.
that's a Tuesday.
The sheriff?
Oh,
The ninth.
What did it end up being?
Yeah, well, I don't even remember, but they, he actually, they were sworn
That would
in,
be through our.
and then he said the date, he said the 18th,
I don't know
now, because
video.
he didn't really know till the,
Yeah.
or the 18th of November, he actually.
You just close the cover.
Family's not
That he, yeah.
horrible, they're not the best, but not horrible.
So,
Yeah, I've never seen
And,
two of them that close.
hopefully, I'm going to get back to my last group. And one of the things-
I kind of want to talk to you like that, but we were supposed to take